that, to not turn off the AC. That's perfect. So this is Val Waterman. She was highly, highly recommended to us from Chris Mamero, who's unfortunately not here today. But Val's going to talk to us about becoming the best public speaker you can be. And we look forward to your presentation. So take it away.
All right. How many of you love to get up and present?
Sure.
Love it.
Yeah, love it.
Want to do it all the time. How many of you do it because you have to?
Yes.
Yeah. How many people would like to be dragged behind a truck instead of present? So Seinfeld said, most people are obviously afraid of death, but also secondary to that is getting up and speaking. In fact, most people at a funeral would rather be in the casket than deliver the eulogy. So I want to change that. Here's how we're going to do that. It's very important to start off, to be the master of your craft is what you already are. But how do you really communicate this? Basically, Warren Buffett said, if you present, your business is going to increase by 50%. And I agree with that. And can I tell you why? Look at all the brains I'm talking to right now. I'm here for how long? 30 minutes? And look at the kind of leveraging. If you want to market yourself, speaking is by far the best. But you need to be really clear. She's shaking her head. She's good. Amy, you're right. You're right. What you have to do is understand what your purpose is. When you understand why you're here on this earth, and it's a very big question, I know, something you didn't expect me to ask you today at 8:20. But let me tell you something, when you know your purpose, everything falls into place. So when I say your purpose, we can go by what you do for a living. So Amy, you're a web designer. What do you really do? What do you really, really do for people?
I think what I do for people is make a difference in their business.
She's got it. Igor?
Uh-oh.
What the hell do you do?
How much time do you have?
You're what?
How much time do you have?
No.
It's got to be short. Tell us what you really do, not what you think you do.
I give people peace of mind.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Does everybody get what I'm getting at here? So knowing mine is to make a difference, a positive difference every single day in any way I can, whether I hold the door for some poor guy at the supermarket who's got groceries, or I'm here talking to you. I know it as sure as I'm standing here. So when you know that, that's a really big piece, and it makes me happy to get up at 4 in the morning and come here. Because why? Because somebody here needs me. Now, the other piece to this is, that's not enough. You have to know your audience. What do they need? If you give your audience what they need, you've done your job. Now, a lot of people are very nervous. Who knows about the monkey brain? The monkey brain is that you have that voice in your head that never shuts up. Who do you think you are, Jim? You can't do that. You're too gray, you're too this, you're too that. That monkey brain will never shut its mouth. So what do you do with it? You don't pay attention to it. It's not going to shut up. Park it in the corner. Tell it it's getting a time out. Do what you want, monkey. I don't care. I'm over here doing good stuff. Now, when you take your focus off of that, and you take your focus off of your nervousness, how many people sit there going, why am I so nervous? I don't want to be so nervous. How do I stop being so nervous? You realize where you're putting your energy is in the wrong place. Instead, focus on your purpose and your audience purpose. Speak from your heart. Everybody's different in this room. I never expect you to speak like I do. I've been speaking from the baby carriage. No kidding. My mom told me in Queens, I'd sit in the baby carriage and yell out at people to get them to come over and talk to me. Not much has changed. I really wanted to know, it's not so much, I did like the attention, I'm not lying, but I really wanted to know about other people, and I wasn't getting out of that baby carriage anytime soon. So I devised a system to get them to come over to me, and it worked. But you're not going to speak the same way I do, and let me tell you why that's important. We're all different. What you do and how you present is different than what you do and what you do. Lauren can talk about her desserts, but what does she really do? She gives people great pleasure eating those desserts. She makes a feast out of something. At the end of the meal, you have something to look forward to. And that's what we need. So your 30,000 foot why is very important. Be authentic, be genuine. We said we know your audience, and also a powerful opener. Did you notice I went right in there for the kill with you guys? Did you also notice I'm not standing behind the podium? Can you tell me why, Jim?
No.
Who can tell me why? Go for it. Speak up. Right. I don't want anything between me and you. I want to be fully here. So my company is Present for Prosperity, but it's also present for prosperity. How do you be present when you're speaking? So the main thing is the breath. If you learn nothing else from me, the breathing is key. When you breathe from here and you take your time. Did you ever notice when you present, your head feels like it's tucked somewhere up in the ceiling and you're watching your body present? Yeah, you know what that is? That's adrenaline. And the adrenaline is the killer of a good speaker, because we speak too fast, we think we can't catch our breath, and the audience is worried that we're gonna fall over, right? You don't want that. Stop and breathe. What's gonna seem stupidly slow to you is going to seem right to your audience. Have a protein before you speak. I don't care when you're speaking. Let me tell you why. Your brain needs fuel when you're speaking. You've already got this adrenaline going. The protein will bring your adrenaline down because your blood sugar is going to be racing. That's a big key. So if you're speaking in the morning, have a protein. I don't care if it's eggs. I don't care if it's protein shake. These are things that most speakers won't tell you. So the other thing is, wow. Anybody ever read the 4 Agreements? It's not about you. It's never about you. I can tell you right now, when you stop putting the focus on you, am I doing this right? Is she gonna think I'm a jerk? You have the power to be here. Own the room. When you get up and speak, you've been given permission to do your 30 seconds. Own it. I want to hear your name. I want to hear your company. What do you do best? What great referrals are for you? And then a closing, make sure you do your name and your company again. Why? Somebody tell me why.
Why?
Yeah.
Just, say it again, just like hammer through so everyone knows.
Right.
Oh, I was just gonna say, every time someone hears it, it's slightly reinforced. Like
It's
an
called,
advertisement.
yes, it's called anchoring. When I say it twice, you remember it. Because sometimes it's tough to hear, especially in a room like this with the air conditioner going fast. So, know you're speaking cold. Know your subject cold. So here are the 3 things. Prepare, practice, and present. Prepare means prepare your speaking. I am speaking from bullet points. Never read from your notes. Never. If I ever catch you doing that, it'll be smack time. So those things are really important. So prepare and then practice the hell out of what you're doing. I don't care if you have to practice in front of your dog. Practice in front of the mirror, practice with a friend, because you can't practice enough. When you get up, you want to be completely relaxed. Really, I could speak anywhere. It's amazing to me. Because it's not that I don't get nervous, it's that I've learned the techniques that I'm teaching. Never read, make it interactive. Okay, so owning the room, again, is very important. Your marketing message is something that you work we got some marketing people in here. We've got Amy and we've got Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine. How important is it for people to know their marketing message?
Oh, that's probably one of the most important things they should know, like right off the top.
Right, and should they be consistent throughout?
Yeah.
Okay, well tell us why.
Well, again, because the more times people hear it, the more it's accepted.
Anchoring, right? So having a powerful opening and a strong finish to be memorable, we'll find out whether mine is going to be strong enough at the end. Being everything interactive, channel your nervous energy, connect with your audience. If you've noticed, I'm looking at people one person at a time, so you feel like I'm talking to you, right? That's a really great thing to do. You don't want to be looking at some people tell you to look at a spot on the wall. Don't be doing that, please. And there's a good reason why. You really don't want to feel like you're a robot up here. You want to really talk to people. You really make it interactive. Now, the other thing is always have water. There's a good reason for that. If you need to take a sip because you're dry, there's another reason. Sometimes you need a little break to collect your thoughts. smile. That's very important. And there's going to be a quiz at the end, and whoever answers my question correctly is going to get 1 hour with me on a Zoom call. So when you're breathing, I usually find it's helpful to build the breathing into your outline. So you have a couple bullet points, put breath. A couple more, breath. You need to remind yourself to breathe. Can somebody tell me why back there? I want to make sure you're not sleeping. Can you tell me why?
Breathing helps you keep your momentum going.
Right. But so there's another good reason for it. Can somebody tell me, Lauren?
You don't pass out.
Ah, that's one, but what's the
I was
other?
going to say
You'll
that.
die.
Okay, so you've got to remind yourself to breathe because you're nervous. And you're maybe not that experienced at doing this. So you've got to be your own best friend on this by breathing, eating the protein, and reminding yourself to breathe so that you don't forget while you're presenting and you're in the moments and the throes of talking to Eric, and Eric's distracting me with his beautiful eyes. I have to remind myself to breathe. Okay, I don't get points for that. All right, so
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
so when it comes to your subject, I don't want to hear the technical aspects of building a website or building a construction site. I want to know what you do best. Do you guys know what you do best? You know how to figure it out? Tell me. You're shaking your head.
I make things easy for my clients. Things that are usually hard with other vendors, I make it easy.
That's a great superpower. I call them superpowers. Somebody else want to offer their superpowers?
I find better ways to do annoying things.
You know, you are a prize. I got to tell you, I wish more people were like you. Who else? Come on, let's go. Orange jacket back there. What do you do best? What's your superpower?
Like a little edge in that hood.
Yeah, that's great. You see, everybody's got something really special. And it's connecting with people in a way that makes them laugh or gets them to notice you. What's your superpower? Yes.
Yeah, I help my clients tell their stories.
Right, good. How about you, Amy?
I am responsive and keep my word.
Right, and?
Make your environment beautiful.
Right. You hear the difference between saying I'm an art dealer, I'm a website designer, I'm a marketing person. I make a difference every day of my life by teaching people how to be badass speakers. I don't want them just to be normal speakers. What's the fun in that? I want them to get up and rock the room. Now, you're going to say to me, but that's not my style. Well, okay, but we're going to push you to the point where you are a little uncomfortable out here. So if you're not uncomfortable, you're doing something wrong. If you're just up here robotically speaking, go home and go back to bed. Anybody have any questions? Let's take some questions.
So how does your technique vary based on the size of the audience? Because right now you have a small group and intimate group. If you're talking to a ballroom group, how does your style change or does
It doesn't change much. And can I tell you why?
Sure.
Thank you. Because of the way I speak. I speak really from the heart. I'm no different in my personal life than I am in my professional life. And I think that Terry can vouch for that. You know me a long time, right? What do you think? Do you think that's true?
Yes.
Okay. So why I say that is that I can speak in Grand Central to 100 people, or I can speak to this group.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're presenting now, you use notes to, remind yourself of things.
Right.
Is that okay? Like,
Yeah. Did it look okay to you?
Huh?
Did it look okay to
You
you?
look fine. I just didn't know because you said something like, don't read from your notes.
No, don't read.
Don't read your speech.
75 years ago, I was a web designer. No, you don't want that. No, you don't want that. And why do you think that is? You're not connecting with your audience. Now, if you have a PowerPoint, which notice I don't have because I'm the show, but if I had slides, I would not be standing here looking at the slides, reading them to you. If I ever catch any of you doing that, I won't even tell you what I'm going to do. So, here's the idea. You're the show. I don't care if you have PowerPoint slides or not. If you have PowerPoint slides, you should be working from a laptop over here, looking at the laptop, but never reading from your slides. Bullet points for slides.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yes, ma'am.
When you have slides, because ours is very visual, is it better to have no words? or
Correct.
No words.
Yeah, now you know your craft, right? You know your stuff. You don't need words. Beautiful photos up here. Let me talk about this piece of art. It's revolutionary. It's a Jackson Pollock. It was his early years, and the reason it's spectacular is it's rare, right? So that's what you should be talking about, not Jackson Pollock. You see the difference? I'm not connecting with you. I don't ever want to stop connecting with you. I only have 30 minutes to do that. I have permission to do that. After that, I promise I'll leave you alone. Maybe. Maybe. Any other questions? Come on, you gotta have some questions.
You talked about rehearsing beforehand
Yes.
to your dog, to the mirror. In a situation like, okay, I gave a best man speech twice, right? The first time I rehearsed the hell out of it and I was more stiff. The second time I just kind of rehearsed bullet points and I went more from my personality,
Right.
and I felt that was a much better speech.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you practice, you take yourself away from the mechanics of what you're trying to talk about. Then you're freer to improvise. And improvisation is very important when you're speaking, because if you're standing here like this, how boring is that? The gestures are very important, but don't be walking through, because people are going to wonder where you're going next. Do not do the walking thing. Another thing I'm not going to let you do if I work with you. Because, yes,
I was always told that you should look at your audience one
Yeah.
by one
Yeah.
to make sure you're getting the idea across. And you get a
should-
feedback of what's going to happen.
that's exactly right. Because there's also something else involved. It's really a presentation coach that I knew, who's unfortunately no longer here, once said, you're having a series of one-on-one heightened conversations. You make the eye contact. It's extremely important. And you notice nobody's going to sleep in here. There's a good reason why. Because you're waiting to see if I'm going to call on you.
So, and again, I have a presentation coming up. I'm actually going to be emceeing. This is what I'm asking about always.
Cool.
Emceeing events.
Yeah.
Dinner gala. How do you deal with hecklers? People who
Oh,
are annoying
oh.
in the audience. and
Well,
they-
first of all, what you try to do is if somebody starts heckling, can we give an example? Can somebody heckle me, please? Oh yeah, you're so willing to volunteer.
Can we talk more about my beautiful eyes?
You know what, Eric? I would love to talk about your beautiful eyes. How about we do this after the meeting?
Oh.
Or I'm happy to answer your question after the meeting, or yes, I understand your concern, but let's talk afterwards.
Oh, yeah, right.
I think I'm just going to smack. I don't want to take care of you. What other questions do you have for me while you have me here? I mean, there are really no stupid questions. I'm not kidding.
Okay. So I know I used to do speeches at a place I used to work at. And the one guy that would teach us public speaking, he'd say, view the crowd with their underwear on. And another thing was, talk to people out there like they have no idea what you're talking about. They'll be able to express your thoughts better.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Which one?
Both of them.
I didn't understand the whole underwear thing. I didn't get that.
I'd rather focus on Eric's eyes, quite frankly. Here's the thing, we're never going to live that one down. Here's what I think. I think it's really important to respect your audience. I think it's crucial to respect your audience. I like doing that because it makes me feel good. To feel like I'm dealing with some really great people in this room, and I know I am. You're really a great group. This is a beautiful venue. I came here this morning, I sat out on this terrace, and I thought, God, you guys are blessed to have this venue, and so why would I picture you in your underwear? That's just going to distract me. I'm not going to be able to do my thing if I think that. Or if I think that, I like to respect the people that I'm talking to. I think every one of you is perfectly capable of getting up and being a great speaker. I think there are certain tools that I teach people that other people don't teach. I work from the inside out.
So how does it work for you? Like, do you
all of the above. I'm working on some workshops because I love the interactive part of it and getting people to coach each other in the sense of you did a great job here, or I think you could try this. My aim is to do more workshops. I do Zoom calls, I do in-person, and I love in-person best. I really love connecting with people. It makes my life so much richer in every way. So, and go ahead. No, I just want to tell you guys something. I lost my husband 3.5 years ago, and I'm telling you this for a reason. Because it forced me to look at, right in the middle of COVID, just at the start, I lost him. So let me tell you something. I'm a people person, and I had to be by myself a lot. So what did it force me to do? It forced me to really think about why I'm here. I really want to be here. When he was gone, it was a terrible thing. But I used the opportunity to do some inner work, and I found out that why I'm here is, I'm here to make a difference, a positive difference, a profound difference. And I do it every day, any way I can. Any other questions? I'll get to you.
Do you have some guide for, let's say, someone you're supposed to speak and they say you have 20 minutes or you have 30 minutes
Right.
that you approach fitting into a time frame, like you're
I do whatever I can to fit into the time frame and respect the boundaries.
right. When you're like creating a presentation.
I usually do the very similar presentation that can be like an accordion. It gets bigger or smaller. Best way to describe it. Back there.
Yeah,
Speak up.
I know just in like business networking, some people express a dread of public speaking.
Right.
And I feel like it pulls them back. So with all the clients you work with, what are the most common things that you help them overcome? Like what are those hurdles that make people tell themselves?
The
they're not
nervousness, speaking too fast, racing. I've worked with B&I people. I've coached at least 60 people in B&I alone. B&I is Business Networks International. I've coached them on doing their 30 seconds. I've coached them on doing their 10 minutes. I can coach them on doing a larger speech. I had a client who was she's an estate appraiser, one of the best in the state. Somebody calls her from the Antique Roadshow. I mean, she calls somebody, she gets a return call. That's how great she is. She needed to do a 2-hour presentation. She was terrified. Somebody who she was intimidated by was the headliner. I worked with her for 4 sessions and she rocked it out of the park, and it changed her life because she was no longer nervous because she had tools. Having tools is everything. It's everything. It gives you the power to get up and be a great speaker. As great as you can be, not comparing you to you. Other questions?
Sometimes you listen to a speaker and just something about their voice just right with you, so you don't even hear the words. How do you coach people around the timbre or especially women, because their voice is so high?
I've noticed that. So I get people, as a musician, you gonna finish talking already? You done? You done?
I wasn't talking.
Okay. What I do is I'll work with the timbre of somebody's voice. As a musician, I'll teach people how to speak in a lower voice. Women speak too high. For whatever reason, nervousness, and the more nervous they are, the higher their voice get. I feel sorry for men who get that way too. You know, they start speaking in a falsetto voice. Right, Eric? Yeah.
What about the use of a teleprompter? I've never used one.
Well, what do you think about the use of a teleprompter?
Not so good.
You got it.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, if you don't know your subject, you don't belong up here.
Right.
It's just, you don't. If you're gonna get up and speak, you better know your craft, inside and out. Now, the good reason for that is you don't wanna think about what you know, do you? You wanna just get up and speak and sound like you know what you're talking about. So, and you wanna speak about something you know something about. Right?
I think
Jim.
a couple things. I thought the protein was a really good tip
Yeah.
for getting speaking. And also you mentioned breathing. I mean, we're all breathing, but are there certain exercises that you do, actual breathing exercises before you go up as well? Or?
I do some yoga breathing, but to be honest with you, the most important thing is just breathing in. As you're speaking, take breaks so that the audience doesn't think you're going to pass out from speaking too fast. It's the same thing with when people march around the room. You wonder where they're going next. You don't want people to think, is she going to pass out? I want you to listen to what I'm saying, not whether I'm going to pass out or where am I going next. What other questions?
One other thing.
Oh, you only get two, it's all right.
As far as the visuals of using the screen, you know, sometimes people present and it might not be necessary to even use the screen. They may not have visuals and you're just reading from the screen. You coach whether to use it or whether not to use it.
Yes, I do. Like in my B&I group, there's an interior designer who's very nervous about speaking, and I said, I don't think you should use slides. Because it's going to distract you from what, and you're going to be looking at the slides and you're not going to be connecting with the audience. So I'm working with her on how to get more confident, the same techniques I'm talking to you about. It gets more in depth than this. I'm trying to give you a kind of an overall view of what I do. What makes me different is I do work from the inside out. I do work with nutrition because of all the things I've learned about it and how important protein is. I made sure to have some eggs. I had a protein shake this morning. It's fuel for the brain. And so is breathing. So any other questions?
On a slide, do you think there should be, if you're trying to get across a technical issue, should you do it in bullet points or be a little bit more forthcoming with the information?
Unless you have a good reason to get technical, I would say don't.
Okay.
Stay peripheral, stay with the overall, and can somebody tell me why that is? Yes, you.
People don't understand what you're talking about, so they're bored.
Right? You don't want to put your audience to sleep. You know what? You know your technical stuff, Bill. But if one of these guys starts talking about, like, oh, no, use you as an example. You know, oh, we're going to do some internet marketing. We're going to, get you ranked on the search engines, and like everybody's like, Or if you start talking too much about your financial stuff, and people have anxiety about financial stuff, which most people do, that's something you should factor into your presentation. That's knowing your audience. Let me demystify some financial stuff for you guys. Here's the basics. Budget, blah, 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 blah. You hear what I'm doing? I'm acknowledging that you might have some trepidations or anxiety about it. That's what connecting with your audience is all about. Questions? More questions? I know I'm almost done.
4 minutes.
What's your opinion on the following? I speak in front of a lot of companies explaining benefits and things of that nature, and I was always been I like to tell a story about I've never been small, and literally hiding behind girls like this big in kindergarten because I didn't want the teacher to call me. But I've evolved because I know my subject matter, and I really don't have a problem talking about what I know that I'm talking about. So point being, what I often do is I'll like you have your notes, I'll roll the notes up and just hold them, and it's like, while I'm talking, it's like a, I don't know if it's a crutch or a weapon, or I just feel comfortable
Security blanket.
while I'm talking.
What's your first name again?
Adam.
Adam, do you get the notes coming in through osmosis?
I actually feel like I don't need the notes, and
Okay,
I'll sometimes grab a piece of paper and have nothing on it, just like,
I'm fine
just
with
have
that.
something, it's like holding something.
I'm fine with that. But keep in mind that it is a crutch, and the sooner you can get rid of that, the better. Make sense?
That goes towards preparing. It's because you prepared the notes that you know what's on them. When I'm doing a closing, I actually had a customer ask me, I see you writing while you're talking, which one are you focused on? And I said, oh, I'm totally focused on what I'm writing. That's really important. What I'm saying has been so well rehearsed that I know what's going to resonate, what's going to communicate clearly, what humor is going to fall flat, what humor is not. But it's so much preparation
Yes.
that
I
once
get
I'm
it.
in that moment, and that's what I think you're doing. Those notes, once you write them, then you don't need them anymore. You're
Right.
just prepared.
Okay, now I got a question, and whoever gets the answer right is going to get an hour free with me. What is the main tool that I've taught you today? What's the most important tool that I've taught you today? I've mentioned it many times. Oh, can I hear you?
Protein.
I'm sorry?
Protein.
Breathing.
Be yourself.
She got it.
Breathing.
Breathing. That's the most important tool. But the other one is also know your why. Read a book called Simon Sinek wrote Start With Why. Best book ever, really. And the other one is a book by Dr. Daniel Amen, which is Your Brain Believes Everything You Tell It. Okay, great talking with you guys today. Thank you so much. Thank you.